Masechta Sanhedrin Daf Nun Zayin Amud Beis. We're starting today's Nun Ches. So we're starting from the second line from the bottom. V'savar Rab Meir. We learned yesterday that any ever that Bezdin is going to be Chayv Misa, Chayv Misa by a Yid. A Goy is also Muzan. It is warned on it. And if not, then he's Potter. Okay, let's start. We're going to repeat. Baruch atah Melech Haolam Sha'akel Niya B'dvarei. V'savar Rabbi Meir Shekol Erev Shabezdin Shel Yisrael Memisna Lev Benoich Muzaleh. Does Rabbi Meir then hold? Does Rabbi Meir then hold? Right there. Does he then hold that if Bezdin, second line from the bottom, does Rabbi Meir then hold that every ever that Bezdin is Mechayiv Misa Benoich Muzaleh? Benoich is also one on it. Tanya, we learned in the Braisa. What do we learn in the Braisa? He brings down that if a child was born, in the pregnancy was B'Kedusha. He was still but during the pregnancy she converted, and he was born as a Yid. But when at the conception, when they first she got pregnant, the pregnancy was not B'Kedusha. So yes, meaning that there is the Isur for this child who's born now as a Yid, that he's not allowed, because a Geishan guy can cotton shenoiler dummy. A gay that converted, so it's not really his parents, it's not his brother, it's not his sister, it's not nothing. So Gemara. Yes, right. So now, could he marry his sister? Could he marry his father, mother, or his aunt? Yeah, because they're not real relatives.
Right. Yeah. No.
Okay, so here we're talking about there is an Isur on him if he was born as a Jew. Yes, l'she'aim. There is the Isur of anything that's maternal. It's going to be asab ve'ein l'she'av, but anything that's paternal is not going to be asab. Okay, so what does that mean? Says if he married the sister, but the maternal sister, this child's sister, that he can't. He has to get out of that marriage. But what's if it's paternal? It's a sister from the father's side. You can keep to the marriage. What about the father sister? But the father and the sister were sister and brothers from maternally, from the same mother. Says the mother, such an aunt, he can't stay with. But if the father and the sister are paternal, Yekayim, it should stay, then the marriage could stay. A mother's sister, but maternally, Yotzi has to leave. What's if it's a sister, meaning an aunt? So but it's paternally. The two sisters are sisters from the father's side, but not from the mother's side. So Abeya says, even if it's from the father's side, but Abeya says there's one time that he's going to say Yotzi. If it's the same,
why is that?
Why? Okay, first of all, let me tell you what's the problem here. A Geshen's guy is like a cotton shenilad. So why should any of this be Yasser? So the answer is because people are going to say, look, the guy, when he was a guy, he was forbidden to marry his mother, who was married to the father. And now, you say because he became a Yid, it became lighter. That looks very bad for the Yidden. Because it looks like as a Yid, he could commit adultery worse than when he was a guy, he was forbidden. He can marry his mother. And when he was a guy, he wasn't able to. Yeah, he can marry his mother because he became Jewish now. So that's not his mother, so he can marry his mother. But as a guy, he wasn't allowed. She was a Ish, that was forbidden. So that's what they said over here. That what's the Shageshin dummy? So what's the problem? So they said Yavayu Anoshim was Zalzel b'Kedushas Yisrael v'Leima sheikalam b'Kedushas b'nei Neyach shememenu ba'ager, and that's terrible. So because of that, they said they're going to answer anything that's maternal. Now, even if it's paternal means it's the two sisters from the father. Rabbi said we're going to answer it because people won't be able to remember. They won't differentiate. They'll say, "Oh, sisters."
Right.
Huh?
You're saying not paternal.
Paternal's a right, but I may made a paternal. Paternal, but if it's two sisters, it's not a brother and sister, two sisters from the father's side, they might make a mistake. He's not chayshish for that.
When he chooses his mother,
From two sisters from the same father.
Same father.
Rav Meir said it should be Yasser.
but he was born from one of the sisters.
No, he married aunt. His mother's
Two
sister,
aunts, right?
mother and the sister. So he officially he can marry the sister. Rav Meir said no.
Because it's
Two sisters.
Because it's a relation
It's
to your
confusing. It's
It's a relation to your
confusing.
mother.
Right, that's what he's saying. What was the Gezeidah? Olo lit ois. He might make a mistake because this is his mother and it's his mother's sister. Oh, maternally, to him, mother's the whole maternal. Really, you have to look at the mother and he's marrying the aunt from the grandmother. But he's gonna see Imai and he might make a mistake between the Imai and the grandmother. Chacham say, no, we're not chayshish for that. He's not chayshish. He's not afraid of that kind of Gezeidah. Says Gemara, Rav Meir would say, a ger that married any ever, kol ever, shehi mishum sheiraim, any ever that has to do maternally, a relative maternally, yoitzi, that marriage has to break up right away. He has to leave. Shum of, but if it's from the relatives of from its paternally, then it's Yikaim. You can keep it from the father, right? You can keep the marriage. So your mother, the Brisa continues. Umuta gate is allowed. If he can marry the brother's wife, his brother, this gay can marry his brother's wife. Yeah, he died, of course. No, it's a guy, and she's converting. And he could also marry his uncle's wife.
Which kind of brother are you talking about? The brother from a guy?
Yeah, the brother that was a guy and then converted. And the brother died. He can marry his wife. Officially, his wife is Jewish or became Jewish, converted. And the same thing. What's the problem? You can never marry your brother's wife. Unless it's a Yibum, unless he doesn't have children. Doesn't matter. You're not allowed to. Also, the wife of his uncle, he can't marry. But here he could.
When he dies, you could marry then.
Only if he dies without children. Here he can marry. He can marry his uncle's wife if the uncle died. And all the other arayis which become his relative through marriage. That these women, how did they become usher to him? Because they married a relative. So it means through marriage, these women who are usher them through marriage, mutar slave for a gauge, and this guy is allowed. Lasuye, it comes to include even to marry his father's wife. Okay? What's the problem now?
That's his father. But that's his father's wife.
It's not his mother. His father is his father's a guy. His father died, and he can marry the father's wife. But she's only a relative because she married his father. So your mother next. Ben Noach shenasa isha ubita. Ben Noach married as a mother with the daughter, and then they all converted. Koines achas. He takes one. Umetzi achas.
He married both of the same.
Yeah. It was a package deal, 2 for 1. So he took the mother and the daughter together, and now they all converted. He takes one, and he has to get rid of the other. And now the Gemara says, he shouldn't take any of these, or any of these ladies that we said. But it may say if the wife died, he can marry the mother-in-law. If he married both, got rid of, they all converted, took the daughter, and got rid of the mother-in-law. Now the daughter died, he could take back the mother-in-law. Others say it's as. Here we have a contradiction, a tremendous contradiction. Why? Because we said Rab Meir said, Sabbath Rab Meir, that any ever that Bezdin will be mechayiv misa by a yid is forbidden by a guy. Here, marrying his father's wife is misa. is Misa, by a Yid is Misa. Or marrying a mother-in-law. According to one day it says, it's only the Ikadami that says, but the first day it says he could marry the mother-in-law if the daughter died. Minatera, that's Misa. And by a Benayich, you said it's Mutter. And Rabbi said anything that's Aser and that will be Chai Misa by a Yid should be Aser by a guy. Doesn't matter, but the rule is, this is what Rabbi established. Any Isser that would be by a Yid, the punishment of Misa, then the guy, for the same thing by a guy would be Aser. Now, the last kasha is, you say there are things, anything that's not Misa is Mutter by a guy. And here you asked his aunts, all aunts are mutter. It's only chayiv kares, it's not chayiv misa, so it should have been mutter. Why is the Gemara saying if it's maternally, it's all us, all the aunts also?
Marry your aunt?
You're allowed. It's not chayiv kares, but shemi yichva al bas achise. That's what we're afraid of. Okay, it's but Amar Rav Yehuda. Here he says, look. Vilu b'rais hazu I said this lager losses as achos. He cannot marry his sister as achos avi bin ha'im, as achos ima bin ha'im. All the aunts. Why? Because it's maternal. But by dini you saw habal achs mehem, he's not chayv misa. So ben anayich should have been mutter, and you said it's asa. So it's a double whammy, a two-way kasha. And what you want to Rabbi Yehuda loy kasha? Ha Rabbi Meir ali b'Rabbi Elazar, ha Rabbi Meir ali b'Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Meir was a student of both. He was a student of Rabbi Elazar and he was a student of Rabbi Akiva. So Rabbi Meir, when he said, according to Rabbi Elazar, that was like Rabbi Meir, the last brayso was learned like Rabbi Elazar. That says that it's that he's allowed to marry the mother-in-law, or he's allowed to marry the father's wife. And the first brayso that says that he's anything that's Yichai Misa you're not allowed is going according to Rabbi Akiva. And where do we see this machlokes? The Tanya we learned about a brayso. It says Al Kain Yazav Ish as Aviv Ves Imai, and therefore the man should leave his father, his mother, and cling to his wife. Rabbi Elazar Ima Aviv. What do we learn out from the word Aviv? That a Banayach is forbidden al Achis Aviv, cannot marry his father's sister. Imai comes to teach us that Achoisima, he cannot marry his mother's sister. Rabbi Akiva says, no, I learned the limud different than you. Rabbi Aviv comes to teach us it's forbidden for Eishes Aviv. Not Achois Aviv, but the wife through Eishes. Eishes Aviv, who was never his relative, a stepmother. So that's what it is. Imai Mamish means Mamish his mother. So according to Rabbi Akiva,
Everybody agrees that they can't marry them.
wait, we're getting you're jumping. Also, so he says those arayos that Bezdin will be would kill a person for. Those are the miyutin that he's telling you that you're not allowed to be with. Even by a guy, it's not going to be. He's not going to be allowed, even though he's kikatan shanol noiladami. So the pasuk continues. It says v'dovak v'ishta. He should cling to his wife. It says he cannot live with a zacha. But why? Because there's no hana with a zacha. With a ishta, there's hana. With his wife, but not the wife of his friend. So what do we learn out? Only b'mi shenasim basa echad. Only where it's shaykh that husband and wife who could reproduce children. They're not considered as becoming unified. Omamar, and when is the unification? When they can have a child. Omamar, Rabbi Elazar Aviv. The Tana says we learned in the Braisa. Rabbi Elazar said, what do we learn out from Aviv? That Ben Noach is forbidden. Achisav is not allowed to marry this father's sister. Yes, and correct. Yeah, Ema says, how do you know it's going on the father's sister? Maybe it means Aviv Mamish. He's not allowed to live with his father. Says we learned out from the Davak, he should cling to his wife. So his father is a zacha. He cannot be going on that. We already learned it out from the Davak. In fact, you want to say it's going on Eishes of it, the father's wife, not the father's sister, the father's wife. Says you want to hainu beishta. We learned beishta. His father's wife is married to his father. So we already know Eishes Chaveri is forbidden. So that's why it has to be the father's sister. In fact, say the pasuk's come to tell us the wife of the father is forbidden after the father dies. Says Gemara, Dumi the imay. We need it to be similar to the mother. Ma imay the lav ishus, just like when we learned imay, it means imay mamish, right? Not and the mother wasn't married. Af aviv the lav ishus. So too, the word aviv is not to a isa that comes out of a teitzah of ishus. Only because it's a relative of the mother, just like by imay. The imay va'aviv have to be similar. That has to be a blood relative.
Okay.
So just like when it says imay, it means imay mamish. That's what the Torah, that's what we learn out from the imay, because it's his blood, his mother. So by aviv, when we say aviv, it has to be something that's blood of the father, not a wife of the father. That's not the wife of the father. Is not the blood.
So
It means achais. It can only mean achais, a sister. Correct. Yeah. We learned from Imay, it teaches us that achos Imay. According to Abelezer, he learns Imay, teaches us the mother sister. In fact, let us learn like Rabbi Akiva. Imay means his blood, it doesn't mean the sister. It means mamish the mother. It says Imay is married to a man. And we learn out from Be'ishtay, not Eish Chavere. Ve'ima la'achamis. I say that the mother's alone and she's not married. And the Gemara Dum the Aviv has to be similar to the case of Aviv. Ma Aviv, the love mamish, just like the word Aviv is not referring to the father mamish, like we said, because that's Mishkiv Zacha that we learn out from Badavik. So Aviv was teaching us that it's not the father himself. Af imay, the love mamish, we have to say, when it says imay, it's not referring to the mother, it's referring to the sister of the mother, just like with the father, it's referring to the sister of the father. Rabbi Akiva argues, and he says, Aviv, Eishes Aviv. What does Aviv come to teach us? The wife of the father is forbidden for a Ben Eich to live with. In fact, in one of Aviv Mamish, maybe he's coming to tell us he's not allowed to live Mamish with the father. Says Gemara, no, that's Mishkav Zacha. Hainu v'davak, that's what we learned from v'davak. V'loi b'zacha. In fact, Gemara, Yihachi, Eishes Aviv Nami. The Drasha of Rabbi Akiva lets Aser, the wife of the father, is also this that you wanted to say. What is Aviv teaching us? The wife of the father is Aser. From Aviv, Hainu v'davak be'ishtay, v'loi be'esh chavere. We can learn out because it says be'ishtay and not esh chavere. So we already know Eishes Aviv from be'ishtay. So why do I have to learn it out? Why are you saying we learn out from Aviv, Eishes Aviv? I can learn out Eishes Aviv from be'ishtay, not v'loi be'esh chavere. And for the Gemara, the pasuk has come to teach us la'acha misa. After the father died, still it's going to be aser for the ger to live with his mother, with the wife of the father who died. Okay, Zaki Gemara imay mamish. According to Rabbi Akiva, imay means literally the mother. In fact, Gemara hainu be'ishtay. It says v'davak be'ishtay v'lei be'esh chavere. What do I have to have imay to teach us? He's not allowed to live with the mother. We know he's not allowed to live with the mother. The mother is married to his father. His mother's married to her father. So Be'ishtay already told us you're not allowed to marry a woman who's still married. So what do I need the imay to tell us he's not allowed to marry the mother? If the mother's married, and his mother's not married. He was imay manusase. He was born from his mother being raped, and that man is not married to her. In fact, what might come forget? What is Abelezer and Rabbi Akiva arguing about? Abelezer Sava Aviv Dumya the imay Dumya the Aviv. The Isa that we learn out from Aviv has to be the similar to the Isa that we learn out from imay, and the Isa that we learn out from the word imay has to be similar to the Isa that we learn out from the word Aviv. So where are you going to find similarities in the limud? You can only find that there'll be the same limud if you're talking about their sister. That we learn out, the mother's sister is Aser from Imai, and we're going to learn out from Aviv, similar that the father's sister is going to be Aser. Right. And you can't, and there's no other way to make it the same limud, other than speaking about the sister. Rabbi Akiva mutav le'ukme. Rabbi Akiva says, I rather establish the pasuk, the eishes of it, that the is is going on the marriage, even though it's not blood, it's through the marriage. It's going on the wife. The ikri ervas aviv. It's called the Eves, the nakedness of his father. Living with his mother is the nakedness of his father. Lafuke achois aviv, to exclude.
But it's obvious, but not his mother.
Right, not his mother. That's Rabbi Akiva. He says, I rather learn the pshat, ervas aviv, because that's what the common case is. Ervas, the person living with ervas. That's not his mother. He sleeps with his stepmother, correct. And that's called ervas aviv. Lafuke achois aviv, living with his aunt, the she'er aviv, that's the blood of his father. The she'er aviv hiki. Ervas aviv loiki. It's not called ervas aviv. And he feels the pshat in the pasuk is talking about ervas aviv, not she'er aviv. So the Gemara Tashma coming here, and I'll ask you on Rabbi Lezer that says Ben Noach is forbidden to live with the father's sister. It says Vayikach Amram es Yochevet deidasei. It says Amram took his aunt Yochevet, right, as a wife. My love, isn't there not that she was deidasei? She was this father, yeah, meaning the sister of they does say Shal Amram, the aunt of Abraham, Minaim, from the mother's side. And nevertheless, we said Abraham was allowed to marry Yochevet. How could she? We said maternally it's supposed to be forbidden. Ben Noach is not allowed to marry his aunt from his mother's side, meaning that his father and his mother were brothers and sisters from the mother maternally, from the same mother. So how was Amram allowed to marry Yochevet?
Amram and Yocheved, brother and sister.
Amram married. Amram, let's say, is the Ger, the Ben Ger.
Yeah.
Married Yochevet,
His aunt.
his aunt, and his father and his aunt were brothers and sisters from the same mother.
Right.
So how was he allowed to marry her?
Because she comes from his mother's.
Same mother, it's maternal. Says the Gemara Lo, it was not maternal. They does say his aunt, and meaning they does say Yochevet,
Was
and
not
her
maternal.
brother was not maternal, was Mina'av. Okay, they were brothers and sisters from the father's side. Tashma, come and hear. The Gemara says, you said Ben Noach to marry the sister. So look what happens here. It says in the Torah, Abraham said to Avimelech, when he gave to his marriage to Sarah, he says, "V'gam Amna," and it's also true. Achisi bas avi, she's my sister, and she is the daughter of my father. Achloi bas ime, but she's not the daughter of my mother. Miklal, it's mashma that if Sarah would have been a sister from the same mother, right? He said it's achisi bas oive. It's my sister from the father's side. Now,
She's Mamish's sister.
yeah, but it wasn't. We'll soon see. How was he able to? It sounds like a lie. It was a niece. We'll get to it in a second.
I'm confused.
Let's go slow.
Yeah,
then.
yeah,
Don't get mixed up. It says,
absolutely.
it's also true. It says when Avimelech, Abraham told Avimelech about Sarah, he said she's my sister.
Yeah,
But she says she's my sister from my father's side, not from my mother's side. Terech was the father, which wasn't her father. She was from Charan. She was Bas Charan. Well, I mean, we'll get to it soon. But right now, forget about what I said now. Just say,
you just mixed me up.
no,
That's
Abraham said she's my sister.
That she was his cousin.
From we're brother and sister from the same father. Right, you're right, in a second.
So it's really a cousin.
You're going to mix them up. Give me a second. We're going to get to it in a second.
Wait a minute. Hold
1
on.
second.
Let me finish
But
this.
it's not my brother and sister from the same mother. So it's mashma, if they would have been brother and sister from the same mother, it would have been forbidden. That's why he emphasized we're brother and sister from the father. Miklal, the bas ha'em, asur. It would have meant that if it would have been the bas ha'em, it would have been asur. And according to Rabbi Akiva, no, aunt, there's no isur, even if it's maternally. So it's Akasha Rabbi
Why
Akiva.
not write up the whole story? If she just my sister,
So the Gemara said the reason why he said it to teach us that if it would have been from the same mother, it would have been asur. He wants to tell us that limud. So the Gemara says, no, it's Avimelech. But Israel, do we then think that because of this, Avram said, Achloi bas imi, that she's not my sister from the mother's side, to tell us that it's Asur? Was she Bechlala's sister of Avram? She wasn't even the sister of Avram. Bas Achim Aboy. She was the daughter of Haran, who was Avram's father's brother. Terach's brother was
So she was
Haran.
a cousin.
Was a cousin. The Kiman the Hachihu, and since it was this way, says Gemara lo yishnomina avlo yishnomina im. It wouldn't have made a difference. The father, mother, that was.
You can marry her. 'cause
You
she's
marry a
your
cousin, yeah.
Yes.
Sharia, it's mutter. But the one else said Hachikama. Only there he said like this: Kuva the achis isli bahada me abavlei meima. He says she is a relative of mine from my father's side, not from my mother's side. Meaning my father Terach, she's a relative from my father's side that she is my cousin, and she's the daughter of my uncle. So there's no raya from here. There's no kasha.
his brother.
Charan was his uncle. Terach's brother was Char. Tashma, coming here, I'll ask a kasha again against Rabbi Akiva. It says, "Mepnei ma'aloi nasa Adam es bitoi." Why did Adam Arisha not marry his daughter? And the Gemara could they say, "Kayin as
What do you mean? Why should he had a wife?
Okay, but she sinned with the Eitzadas. Why couldn't they marry? Here, 12. He says a little bit more.
There was no Adam around to make it.
No, there was. Here he
He had
says.
2 wives. And there's there's no Chemra and Geshem there. They have 2 wives.
You had more than that also.
The Gemara says he shouldn't marry, have 2 wives.
Okay, says the Gemara.
So let's go back to that.
So says the Gemara, why? It's in order that Cain should be able to marry his sister. Why? Because this is a passing in Tilm. Because I said that the world with kindness should be built, meaning it should multiply.
Yeah.
So you want to prove it, right?
And he had
Hold
one
on.
daughter. Adam Arisha had 1 daughter.
Meanwhile, we're talking about one daughter. I don't know. Okay. Halav hachi. But if
I don't know,
not,
we're talking about
but if not for this reason of building the world through Cain, Asira, then it would have been forbidden to Cain to marry his sister.
Yeah.
It's mashma only because why was Cain allowed to marry his sister? Only because
No.
says the Gemara, you're right. But once it was mutter to Cain to marry his sister, it was mutter for any ben noach to do so. Kusi means a goy. Kusi mutter bebitay. A kusi can marry his daughter. Why didn't Adam marry his daughter? In order that Cain should marry his sister, Mishum Olam Chazir to build. Yeah, but now he's bringing you Rav Huna,
Yes, what's it
another hira by Dinarais that it's mutter. He's telling you Chatchila, a goy can marry his daughter. There's no Isa.
And he's considered a Kus Adam.
Because
Because
he's not talking about Adam. He says Bechal, a goy can now. He's telling you the halacha, another
Weren't any
halacha.
other family?
A guy can marry his daughter.
Everybody was
Kusi is
related.
nicht Adam Arishan. Adam Arishan, yeah. So
one daughter and 2 sons.
He had Cain and Hevel, and they both had the twins. They were all both married with twins, with daughters. Then they married their sisters.
But they both had-
Married, yes. If it's mutter, in order that Cain should marry his sister, it should be Olam Chasibana. He can the other say Rav Huna Kusi Asva Bitay. A Kusi cannot marry, a goy cannot marry his daughter. Teida, I'll bring you a raya, Sharei, Loy Nasa Adam es Bitay, because Adam didn't marry his daughter.
You just
Fact,
gave me a reason why.
fact, your mother will it's not true. Hus a minor time. The reason why Adam didn't marry his daughter, Kadesh is a Cain as a so that Cain should marry his sister, Mishum Olam Chasibana. Because otherwise he could, but he wanted that the world should multiply. Amar Rav Chizda. Eved, we said a halacha before. Eved Kanani mut be'imay or mut be'bitay. Eved Kanani can marry his mother, can marry his daughter. Yotza miklal kusi v'leklal yisrael loy ba. He says Eved Kanani. We said, how could he marry his mother? How could he marry his daughter? Once he becomes an Eved, he's like a ger. He's Baal himself and he becomes Mechuyev and he's Tevel himself and he's Chayv in the mitzvahs of a woman more. So L'cheira we said when he becomes a ger, as a goy he was forbidden. You remember that we said as a goy he was forbidden. Now he became a yitzah zilzul for the gerus that became a yid, became now how do you call it? Became mutter to his mother.
It takes to be Jewish.
So, it pays to be Jews. It says zilzal for Yiddishkeit. So he says over here it's not a zilzal for Yiddishkeit because he still didn't enter into Klal Yisrael. We don't call him Yisrael. We call him Eved. He's second Eved. He's still second class or whatever. Sagt die Gemara Kasser Abdin came Amar Abbas Amar Chanina. Rabbi Eliezer said the name of Rabbi Chanina. But Noach Sheyichat Shivcha le'Abdei. A guy who designated said he told the Shivcha, you're going to marry this Evet, Chaim Yain Kolay Shematcha, whatever. Uba Allah, and then the other he himself lived with her. Neragala, he gets killed for living with her because he's stealing. And for Gzela, he's Chaim Misa. We learned this yesterday. In fact, you might have from when does the Shivcha? From when is she considered already married set aside for the Evet? That if the Adam will live with her, will be Chai Misa. When the people will say, all the people in the city will say, oh, this girl, she belongs to that man. So once they're talking like that, and then he lives with her, then he's Chai Misa.
So she's already a big girl.
Yes. Or she's already taken. Everybody knows she's taken. In fact, you want to from when does he become the Adam? From when could he live with her? Says in those days, the married girls would cover their heads. You see how far the covering of the heads was from the Yamima, from the early days. So it says that.
Well, the woman was married or not.
So when she would take off the tichel, she wasn't wearing a tichel anymore. We knew that she's not married anymore. That lived with his wife, but not in the normal way. Back, but yeah, it's chayv shenever like it says v'davak, it says davak in a way that you can reproduce children, not in a way shaloi kedaka. Aminot, you jumping. Amar Rabbi said he committed the so late mechad. Okay, they cooked up as a shuvas. Okay, Amar Rabbi. Let's go. Amar Rabbi. Amar Rabbi. Okay, good. Okay, here. The Gemara is going to ask this question without the Tzemach Tzedek. Amar Rabba, we'll get Chas v'Shalom, not, but I'm saying Amar Rabba mi committed the Yisrael leMechayiv as vekusi mechayiv, and something that a Yid is not chayiv for if he lives not normally with his wife. He's not going to be chayiv for so a guy should be chayiv. It means that if he committed adultery with another woman, but the way he committed was shaloi kedarka, then he's not going to be chayiv misa. My timer. What's the reason? Because it says be'ishtoi. It says be'ishtoi. That means that we learn after the pasuk ledavuk be'ishtoi. Right. So the davak comes to tell you, but that has to be in the way that they could reproduce. But only if he was Baal Kedaka, but not if it was Shaloi Kedaka. Rabbi Chanina said, a guy that hits a Jew, Chayim Misa. He's Chayim Misa. Shanama, like it says by the story with Moshe killed a Mitzi. This Mitzi was the one that snuck in the middle of the night and lived with Shlomis Bas Divri. Right. And he came out, and the husband realized was the Chereman. He sent him out to work.
And he went to his wife.
He went with his wife. And when he came out, he realized, right, something's fishy. And he saw the guy nose, so he started to beat him. So Moshe looked at, he looked what's going to, all the generations that will come out of him. He saw nothing. Kain ish cannot mala mention he's coming from that. And he killed him. So here we see that you're allowed to kill a guy. A guy is chayv misa for hitting, just for hitting. Somebody hits the jaw of the cheek of the jaw of a Jew. He's like hitting the jaw of the Shechina.
Oh yes, Monday morning there was a whole an attack on the Jew on King Sanhedrin.
So it says over here, it's like hitting the jaw of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shenama, like it says in the pasuk, Moikish Adam Yola Kodesh. The pasuk says Some hanoikish over here means the person who hits, meaning your soul is considered as he's hitting the jaw of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So the Gemara now, Magbiya, Avdei Shabbos, these are the next three cases, which is a siman. The Gemara is giving simanim of these future heroes of Reish Lakish, which is Isaac with Dini Noyach, with the dinim of a guy. Amar Reish Lakish, HaMagbiya Yod L'Chavei Afapi Shelo Yiko. One who raises his hand to hit a friend, even though he didn't hit him. Nikarashi, he's called a Rasha. Never, like it says in the story with Moshe, that he found Dasam Avina. They were fighting. And he said to the Rasha, he said, why are you going to hit your friend? Not why you hit your friend. You're going, just for going to hit his friend, you're already chayav. Why are you going to hit? Even though he didn't hit him, he was already called a Rasha. And they were terrible people. They already told him, oh, you think you're going to do what you did to the Mitzri? So, right. Zidi said in the name of Rab Chanina, Nikra Choyta. A person is called a sinner even before he actually sins. Shenema, like it says by the Bnei Eli, Chafni and Pinchas, who they were Koyanim, and when somebody would be makva carbon and it was leftover meat, they would stronghold them and say, hey, you give us the meat that's left over, it goes to us. So, and if not, you're not going to give it to us, to give my bucks. They know how to fight. If you're not going to give us the meat, we're going to take it with chazaka, with starkei. We're going to, how do you say, arm you. Yad chazaka, okay. See.
They had to give it to him?
Yeah, they gave it to him.
No, but they didn't have to give it to him.
No.
They wanted him to
They could have given to any kohen. Well, see, it says, even at the warning, when they were warning these people before hitting them, it says there was a grave sin. They called them sinners already. Rav Huna Amar tikatzitz yodei, a person who's tikatzitz yodei, that you should cut the guy's hand of somebody who's raising his hand to hit somebody. You should cut his hand off. Shenemo zayah rama tishava. Somebody who raises a hand, you should break. Rav Huna take katz yodei, cut off a hand of a guy who was kept on bullying everybody around. So he paskin, they should cut off his hand. You're allowed to paskin the fisha. Here he brings. Yeah, but this is not Menateri. He says Bezdin Yishem lahakis v'lanish ba'inshim she'ina anidin chai b'hem al pitera. Bezdin could give a punishment even though they're not chai al pitera. He was pushed up bully. He was beating up everybody, so they had to put an end to it.
One hand less.
Yeah. At least it's not a headless. Rabbi says, "Ein lo takona el kvura." Rabbi says, "No, for such a person, you have to bury him." Shenema, he's a strong-armed person. Loi to him, Haaretz is the earth for him to bury him there. Karka, real estate was given to only strong-armed people. Shenema, he's loy Haaretz because they have to watch out for ganovim. They come stealing food. It has to be strong people. Even more so says somebody who serves the earth, works the earth, he will be saturated with bread. If he makes himself like a slave to the earth and he works real hard, then he'll be saturated with bread. In love, he doesn't put in the heavy work, he won't end up with bread. A guy that keeps Shabbos, for a guy, it says, he shouldn't stop working. A guy has to always work. And the Tana said, this is a visa, the chayiv, if they keep Shabbos. Even if they make Mondays off. And the Monday is off, they want a Monday off. Yeah, so a Monday off, chayiv misa.
They take Sunday off.
The same thing. It's counted as one of the seven mitzvahs that they're not allowed to keep Shabbos. Says you want to keep kachashiv sheva al paiseh. I say like kachashiv. What kind of only mitzvah? Shabbos. Yeah, he's not allowed to. Even if it's Monday, he's not keeping the regular Shabbos. He makes the Monday a day off.
So they will have to work 7 days straight.
So yeah. So he says, why don't you count amongst the mitzvahs? Because he only counts the mitzvahs. Loisa said that a person is mechuyev to not do any ma'isa. Here But a mitzvah say that a person is mitzvah to get up and work. He has to work. That's not the kind of mitzvahs that we're counting.